All right, I want to pop back in. So I first want to say that this video and the other video where I'm appearing in the same outfit is part of a series, and I have to state that because it would be necessary to have the entire context to get the scope of what I'm saying, and then these are also nuanced and a little bit charged topics in terms that I'm using. Such as many very charged terms appeared in the first video, but it's for the purpose of learning, erudition. I'm using the word erudition in preference to education, and enlightenment and human happiness, welfare, and respect among one another, all human beings, as brothers and sisters and members of a family that is diverse and beautiful for being diverse, and diverse because it's beautiful. But so I guess like to just slow it down is like, so one is that I said that just to start with, I referenced the word black, and I said that the word black can be contentious. So some people would say that when you're speaking, if you speak according to etymology, that's like the units that make words as part of a history in a language. I would say maybe the proper use of that language, and I don't mean to be arbitrary or condescending or chauvinistic when I say proper, but just for the purpose of communication. When you use words that are part of the etymology, the word units as they're agreed upon and understood and experienced within a language, there's a certain force from that, and a certain congruence between thought and word form that is logos, and that's very potent. That would be strict etymological use of a language. Then beyond that, you would have what's called connotative linguistics. I learned that term from Tajik Bey, and also I heard the discussion of that as that applies to the word black with Tajik Bey. Connotative is, so if you have a sign, right? So say I actually don't recall which book this was, but this is from a book. This is not, when I say connotative and denotative, what I'm about to say, this is from I drew a reference from this. But if you have something that's a sign, a road marking that says 35 mph, 35 miles per hour, that's denotative because it is denoting 35 miles per hour. It is stating that, it is denoting that, denoting that. Now, if you have another sign where it's just like, it just shows it shows like a little block, and then like it looks like a snake going around that, and it's showing you that the road is curving or like it's obstructed, that is not, or like a road sign where like you have some little wiggly lines where you can see it's like it's conveying that it's like slippery. That's connotative because it's expressing something but not objectively, and it's actually it's a metaphor at that point. When you're seeing that symbol like that's a metaphor, and language is deeply symbolic and metaphoric. And so I read another book on poetry that I referenced in this channel that said that all of language, even what's considered etymological and proper in it whatsoever, it came back further before that had been metaphor. And that can be appreciated as slang. The most potent form of metaphor is slang, actually. So when people are giving like a hard time to like hip hop music or like street culture, street vernacular that employs slang, that's actually language par excellence, and it's way colder and more efficient and more profound and more influential than anything like that would be like in a stuffy reference that we're calling proper. And that might actually be the engine of language according to an outstanding book on poetry. I'll put that book in the reference too. So you do have value in terms of both connotative speaking and denotative, and you could say from that standpoint that what's denotative had once been connotative to be denotative, and the connotative is somewhat denotative, and actually even denotative par excellence, in that it's a deeper form of communication. The deeper way to say that would be like in just symbolism. I read another book. I got a current call the reference is that when people are thinking, like at the youngest age, you show a person, you teach a person to read, you teach a child their first lessons, and they're not interested in something unless they got cool pictures, because the visual symbolism is actually how I think that might have been Carl Jung. The mind actually perceives things in symbolism, and even as we're experiencing life and we think we're conscious, our mind is actually interpreting it and seeing the meaning of it in the symbolism deeper. I just had a car go by I might have perceived that car as being like friendly or not friendly, or dangerous or not dangerous, or cool or not cool. But the symbolism of that is impacting my mind on a deeper level. What is the symbology behind me sitting here parked out somewhere in a car going by, and what that can mean and not mean, the time of day, whatnot. That's affecting my mind, and that's going to come back to me in the form of a dream, likely. And the dream is way more eloquent and profound, and actually can speak about what just actually did pass me, that I, as conscious as I think I am, what actually did pass me can be interpreted, appreciated, and understood deeper from the symbolism that would have to attend the appearance of that. The passing of that and the reflection of that is deeper in symbolic terms. So actually, we're way better when we're younger, and we don't get around to like having interest in the text behind books, and we just look at the pictures. We actually get more so confused when we get off into the text, and that's why text messages are also the devil. I've said shoes are the devil, but text messages are also the devil. If you think about how they can malign what you're saying, or just get off into a lot of stuff with the text messages, but but another thing is that according to Tashri Bey, is that sometimes when you have something that is kind of a connotative linguistic expression, because of the room for, because it's more potent and it's more malleable, but that's for better and worse. So a connotative statement, a connotative reference or metaphor can be more expressive, more sublime, more enlightening, more profound, more beautiful, yet also more dangerous, more detrimental, more dishonest, more I don't mean to say honest. Honesty can be arbitrary. What is honest and not honest? But it can be more subtle, more devious, and more injuring and damning than something when it's connotative like that. If you think about a lot of the experiences you had, like say I had I'm near a delivery now, but say I had like some friends, like it's like someone that I was friends with, right? Friends, right? Frenemies, right? You hear that word friend, you better be on guard. You better be on your P's and Q's. You hear that word friend, however you feel about a person. I'm on my P's and Q's when I hear that word friend. But say we have a friend over here, and I'm trying to get that person off on to do something that may not be in their best interest. I'm trying to I'm trying to have an exchange with them that is not entirely in their best interest, or just go do something that's dumb that I know might be dangerous, and that so I have a friend there and they're doing their homework. I can imagine they might be doing their homework or just not getting in trouble, but I want to go somewhere and I need to have someone with me for whatever reason, and I know where I'm going may be bad for me and that person, and not better than what they got going on, but I want them for whatever reason I got. So then I call them up, and then I'm like, hey man, what's up, man? We're about to do doop-de-doo, whoop-de-whoop. And it's also me and Jack Dumbass in the back of the car. And man, you know how that fool Dumbass is always being a dumbass, man, but it's all good, man. So I was just trying to do a little bit of this and that, you know what I'm saying, and get up to the spot. Because what had happened, man, because I'm actually trying to sound cooler than I might actually be, but you can see by doing that, I'm expressing confidence and I'm making statements, but I'm not actually conveying all of what I'm saying or all of what that can mean. And so it's like a form of persuasion where you can introduce dishonesty and you can get over on a person by speaking in those terms like that. But so according to Tashriq Bey, is that when you're speaking in connotative terms, there can be a detriment introduced in that. And you would think about that like me being slang, but you wouldn't think about that in actually the dominant, proper status quo society injuring marginalized people with that very same tactic. And one of those would be to introduce meaning into words that is different than the etymology, but it actually, there's still, you can't take meaning outside of expression. So by applying a word that you change the nuance of that word, the inflection, you introduce some gray area into that word, and it affects how that person understands themselves and that word and your relationship to them. So an example of that would be like the word black. So you call a person black like that. According to Tashri Bey, the word black actually is a Germanic descent that is like Blake, and that actually means white. So when you're saying black, you're actually saying more like white spot, going back into the etymology of that word. So that's an example of how that word is being used differently than what the history of that word is, and it's understood to a person having that applied to them, and then maybe interfacing with that differently than what the history of it is. But yet that word has been around and it has been used beautifully in beautiful context. So I say black is beautiful. I still say black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Now, but also when you say black like that, you're referring to the caste system in the United States going back, where that's a less than sovereign person not having the entitlement, the privileges, to enjoy property and have property protected, and therefore have standing and have a means to further enjoy and further life on earth is part of is what you're writing off when you call someone black. But you're also saying that you're not part of a human family when you call someone black, because I think where we're at now, the better term would be FBA would be the better term. But you're writing someone off of their human family and heritage, and therefore you're disabusing them of their property and standing when you do so by calling them black. That's one way of looking at it.